Hello and welcome to Raptors Today. I'm Savanna Hamilton alongside Paul Jones and Sherman Hamilton. Amy Audibert will be joining us a little bit later. This episode, we're talking Miami Heat because the Raptors are going to see them on Saturday. So, Paul Jonesy, let's go to you first. The Heat, they're missing Kyle Lowry, still out for personal reasons. The last time the Raptors saw the Heat, they also didn't see Kyle Lowry play with them as well. So hoping that everything is good there, but they're having quite the season and they're doing it with missing players. They were 13-9 to start the season, but now they're 31-17.
This is Pat Riley. This is what he prides himself on, and whatever organization he goes to, he seems to instill that culture of hard work, next man up, we'll get it done. I don't care who has to get it done. We need to get it done. And when you look at it, you're right. Kyle Lowry's still out. Jimmy Butler's been in and out of the lineup. They've missed Bam Adebayo for a chunk of the season with the hand injury. But yet, the same way he found Kurt Rambis with the Showtime Lakers and Mark Landsberger and Anthony Mason out of nowhere in New York. Here we are in Miami, and you have names like Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Omer Yurtseven, just guys coming out of nowhere playing big roles because that's what they expect and doing what is expected. And once they get everybody back, they're going to be tough. They're going to be a tough out. They've gone from they had a bit of a slow start, and they were 13-9. And then when you look at it, it always takes a team a while to find itself and find its identity. Even when LeBron was in Miami with the big three, they were like 11-10 in their first games. And then it ended up being 4 straight trips to the finals. So this team is figuring itself out. They have, it's overused phrase, Heat culture. But like many teams that are rooted in a culture, they have a way of doing things with expectations attached. And right now they sit at top of the East. So going to be a tough one for Toronto tomorrow night. But, the Raptors can match it with their own culture because they too have a way of doing things with expectations attached. But give Miami credit for climbing the standings when they didn't have everybody in the lineup.
Jonesy, you talked about the cultures, and I think about the toughest cultures in the NBA, and Raptors and Miami Heat, they always come to the forefront. So when you see these teams match up, it's definitely something special going to happen. Sherm, let's talk specifically about the depth. Jonesy touched on it. They have a 6th man of the year candidate in Tyler Hero. They have Max Strus, Gabe Vincent, PJ Tucker. So depending on who plays this Saturday, it is going to be a competitive matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how it always is with the Raptors and the Miami Heat. Miami, as Jonesy talked about, they've got this culture there that is very familiar to the Raptors in terms of, being resilient, that no quit attitude, continue to scrap and claw, that mental toughness and physical toughness. So it's kind of a mirror of sorts when these two teams get together. And even though Miami could be missing some key players in this game, the Raptors understand that there's nothing to take for granted with some of the names you mentioned, but also understanding that roster can go deeper. They'll go dig deeper into that roster and pull out some guys who can fill some voids for them. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, and some of the names you don't even know, like a Kyle Guy, Caleb Martin is another guy who provides toughness, defensive ability, and offensive ability. So I just think that Miami is built on the sum is greater than its parts. Yes, they have Jimmy Butler, who's a star in this league. Yes, they have Kyle Lowry, who's a star. Bam Adebayo, who's a star. As you mentioned, Tyler Hero is a monster coming off the bench. But the idea is the fist is stronger than an individual finger. And that's how Miami operates. And you see it in the way they play. There's no superstar strut on the court. Everybody plays defense. Everybody's expected to move the basketball. Everybody's expected to fulfill their role. And from the top down, Pat Riley to Eric Spoelstra, that's the messaging. It's consistent. And before you get to Miami, that's the mentality. So don't walk through the door if you don't agree with that philosophy. And all those guys buy into that philosophy.
We're now going to head over to Akil Augustine from Raptors Rundown, who was outside in the streets in the freezing cold.
Raptors fans, Akil Augustine here asking an expert. This expert's name is?
Jeff.
All right, Jeff. So far, I mean, I'm happy with how the Raptors have done. What's been your impression of the season so far?
So this season, they've been pretty good. Especially Scotty Barnes, a really great player right now.
Okay, I like that. Shout out to Scotty.
Barnes crossover. Barnes attacking. Oh, Scotty, the patience.
My longtime friend,
Emad,
all right, Emad, what's been your favorite part of the season so far?
seeing Fred VanVleet kill it.
Okay, all right, he's like looking like the new Kyle Lowry,
I
right?
was trying to think about that. You took the words out of my mouth.
Okay, this is my guy right now.
Attacks. Back over to Fred for the tie.
I'm here with my long lost best friend,
Adam,
Adam. Raptors season so far. What's your take?
just happy that there's a season. It's last year and the year before got screwed up.
Looking forward to the second half of the season. What do you want to see from these
What's
guys?
his name?
Pascal?
Pascal, you're right. Just like his skill is just unparalleled. Like the way he's doing, I'm a big fan. I see good things in his future.
Looking for the rookies to keep going, keep going up, and I guess the other guys will chip in too, and get a good season going. Doing hopefully the playoffs, obviously, but that's it.
I'm just hoping they make the playoffs this year. I want to see them do well. I want to see them win another championship.
Jeff's a smart guy. He gets it. That's your expert right there. Those are the right answers, Jeff. Thank you so much, man.
Jonesy, we got to talk about Dalano Banton because he has been playing some great minutes, especially without Fred VanVleet available. How has he been another ball handler on this squad?
I think he's been really good, Savanna, and I think he's been good all year. Let's get this out of the way. There are going to be some mistakes made. He's young. He's a rookie in the league. But what I am seeing again is kind of a renewed confidence. And maybe it has something to do with the fact that he's gone to 905, down to 905, and he's been back and forth on the trolley. And he's getting some reps. I'm seeing him become more confident. I love the fact that when he gets the ball in the backcourt, be it on a rebound or, a loose ball, a turnover, I call it the TTC, the 45 Kipling Express. Man, he is up the court as quickly as possible, and he's looking to do some damage. He's looking to be a one-man fast break, and that feeds into what the Raptors want to do and the way they want to play in terms of their own individual pace of play. I'm seeing good things from him on the defensive end. In the Chicago game, a little bit more of an awareness, kind of digging in and scraping at balls as a dribbler or a ball handler goes by him, and helping to knock it loose, create a deflection, create a turnover. And then I've seen in the last couple of games, in the back-to-back, in the Chicago game and in the Charlotte game, he's stepping into his shot confidently with conviction and shooting it, particularly the corner three. So, I think he just needs to make sure his confidence stays at a good level. I like that he's that de facto second unit ball handler. You've got Pascal and Scotty that do it for the first unit. When Fred's on the floor, Fred's naturally there. But I think the next guy in order there is Dalano. And I think he's doing a good job. He's learning, he's developing, he's getting reps with the big club at an important time now because of other guys being out. So I like what I'm seeing from him.
Yeah, Dalano has been incredible. Having watched him firsthand with the 905, he dropped 23 points in the fourth quarter of a game that was neck and neck. And he just came in and absolutely took control. And I feel like that confidence has also translated now to the Raptors. So as you mentioned, Jonesy, he's really almost found the confidence within his shot. And that was something that was a concern, I think, a little bit in the beginning of the season. So it's great to see his growth and development now translate as we enter the second half of the season. But somebody else who's been doing really well and making impactful minutes has been OG Anunoby, Sherm. He's been quiet, but effective, shooting at a really high percentage. Do you think that the Raptors should try to involve him a little bit more into their offense since he's being this efficient?
Well, first off, let's talk to OG and the fact that everybody's talking about Fred, Pascal, Gary Trent Jr. when it comes to scoring outputs. But just quietly, as you said, OG has been super efficient. He's been very good at scoring the basketball. The last two games, he scored 23 against Chicago, 24 against Charlotte in the back-to-back, 10 of 15 against Chicago, 8 of 14 against Charlotte. So he's getting what he has to get. And this is the most intriguing yet impressive thing about OG Anunoby. He's in a situation where you have multiple guys on the starting unit that can go for 30. And yet he consistently finds ways to score because his number doesn't need to be called for him to score. We're seeing him do those rim runs as a de facto big, getting into that defense early, camping in the paint, setting up shop, getting wide, getting that ball dumped in, and he's getting early transition opportunities on rim runs. I love that. They're using him on the block now. They dump it in, OG can go to work. And I think the fact that OG is being so productive without necessarily having plays run for him a lot throughout the course of the game, that's a testament to his ability to understand who he is in this offense, to understand that he's got to take advantage of his opportunities because the ball is going to other places, but also when his number's called, he's ready to deliver. And, you flip that and say the defensive side, he's just doing a great job. So as long as OG's okay with his role, and because he's being super productive, I don't know if they need to incorporate him more based on the fact that you have Pascal, you have Fred when he's there, you have Gary Trent Jr., guys who are going to handle the ball, make plays, and score the basketball. That's 4 guys in the starting lineup that can go for 30. Somebody's going to have to take a step back at some point. And the fact is, OG, even though he's taken a step back in terms of play calling, he's definitely getting productive numbers still put out there. So it's an unusual kind of situation where that happens, but it's great for him. And the fact that nobody's talking about how good he's been playing, to me, is a testament to how good other guys are playing. But don't sleep on OG. He's doing a great job.
It's like the best problem to have when you have too many scoring options.
It is. And all of them aren't greedy hands. Like, there's no sticky fingers there. Guys understand if a guy's got it rolling, move that basketball, and they're very unselfish. So you're right. It is a positive problem.
We're now going to head over to Amy Audibert.
Thank you so much, Sav. Let's take a deeper look into the matchup Saturday night when the Raptors visit Miami again. And we can't go much further without touching on some players to watch. So, of course, for the Raptors, it has to be Pascal Siakam, who has been playing out of his mind. He's really doing a fantastic job utilizing his skill sets. He's finding matchups. It doesn't matter who's guarding him, 1 or 2 guys. He's averaging 21 and 8, of course, in his 33 games played. But what you have to love is he's on pace for a career high in terms of season assists per game. He's averaging over 5. So he's recognizing the doubles and kicking it out efficiently. Now on the other side, Bam Adebayo, one of the most dynamic bigs in the entire NBA, made his debut against Toronto last week when he had that 14-9 game. He missed quite a bit of time with surgery on his right thumb, but he went 4 for 12 from the field, not necessarily efficient. Again, first game back, maybe a little bit of rust, but how about 6 for 7 from the free throw line? So he's got a big frame and he's very mobile and certainly finding his stride as of late. It's not only about their big guy because their guards can shoot the heck out of the ball. Miami ranks number 2 right now at 3-point percentage. They like to shoot from long range. They usually attempt 36 a game, but against the Raptors last week, they went 9 for 24 from the 3. So the Raptors did a great job of running this group off the 3-point line. It'll be interesting to see if that's the same game strategy, because while the Raptors made things tough from the 3 for Miami, their guards, especially Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler, got to the free throw line and they dropped 54 points in the paint against the Raptors. So it will be really interesting. The other note, though, Toronto outscored Miami 20-4 in the fast break column. So a lot of those misses turned into transition looks for the Raptors. Now, of course, the Heat come into this matchup ranked number 1 in the East, and they did a nice job, not necessarily being healthy the entire season, but they've got Mr. Victor Oladipo sitting on their bench, yet to suit up this season. He's been dealing with a quadriceps tendon injury, but the reports are coming out saying that he is looking good in workouts and could make a return in sometime February. He's a 2-time All-Star, a previous all-defensive team. He gets after it on both ends, and it'll be interesting to see when Victor does suit back up for the Heat, how he makes an immediate impact, and if they can still maintain that chemistry and good game flow that they've found.
We're going to be giving out awards, but this time in a yearbook style. But of course, our intern turned AP for this show today has decided to start with us. Jonesy, what was your yearbook superlative, if you have one?
Didn't have one. Really didn't. Was a kid who was a late maturing kid. I didn't run with the in crowd. Thankfully, there was sports. I went to a really good high school that was into basketball, and it kind of occupied all my time. I was on a whole bunch of other teams, everything from the football and rugby team to the wrestling team. I was into everything that was sports. I didn't really have some of the pitfalls that other kids have in high school with maybe the wrong friends or the wrong companies or hanging out the wrong way. Part of that was because I grew up also in an era that, if any of the school stuff ever got back home, like my parents would be in jail now because I'd be dead. Like, just don't mess up at school, or else you are going to. Like, if you mess up at school, it's like, okay, kill me now, because when I get home, it's going to be worse. So that kind of kept me on the straight and narrow. But I didn't have a lot of that. I enjoyed hanging out with my crew and the nerdy group that I hung out with. But when it was time to get down to either sports, work, or get home, I did all of those. And even the work wasn't so great. I would have to add some grades up together to get to the pass line. So,
wow.
High school was fun, but it wasn't until university when I really started to enjoy my academic life.
And I wonder why. Maybe the parents weren't around as much, but I feel like we had similar parents parent us, because I was kind of the same way, Jonesy. Like nothing crazy. I was pretty much books, basketball, no parties, no Bodgal Sav. But Sherm, I'd be curious to hear if you had any yearbook superlatives.
First of all, I think we all grew up in the same situation with parents that would break it off in us if we did anything. But I had my moments. I had my off-color moments, I will say. I think the superlative for me would have been, I was very quiet. So I might have been the quietest basketball player ever, in terms of a guy who, was pretty good in high school and got attention. But I was kind of to myself when it came to talking. I had some friends. We hung out. We did our thing. But I wasn't the loud guy. So, but yeah, I had some fun in high school. Yeah.
Okay, Jonesy. Okay. Oh, sorry. Oh my God.
Sam, we're gonna have to wait for the book.
We have to wait for the book.
That's the book.
Yeah.
That's the book. We'll have to read it in the book.
Yeah, exactly. No book.
Oh, not even a book. So we'll never know where the bodies are buried. Never.
The book will be right beside me in my coffin.
Oh my gosh. Okay, getting back to it though, Jonesy, who is your pick for the Toronto Raptors class clown?
This is really hard because being the way I was in high school, I was like the church mouse. I sat in the back, didn't make too much noise, tried to do my work, got distracted, but every class had a guy or a girl that I wanted to go to because they were going to entertain you. And I got to figure, if you're the Raptors, it's the rookie right now, isn't it? Isn't it Scotty Barnes? I mean, the stuff he does, he's given Svi Mykhailiuk the name Fiji because his shot is wet and there's usually Fiji water on the plane. They're probably not a sponsor of us here, so they get a free shout out. Just Scotty leading the team out of the tunnel. I think he's taken a tumble here and there. I don't know if the Raptors have played the trick on him yet, where he comes running out of the tunnel by himself as he leads them out and nobody's behind him. Like, Scotty's that guy, and he's a good player, but I just look at him as the kind of guy that I would love to be around, that keeps everybody loose in the locker room and on the bench. And you know what? When it's time, he gets on it. He gets after it. I know he did fall coming out of the tunnel at the beginning of the year, right? Yeah. We all saw that video. And that's Scotty. He just makes you laugh. But, he gets after it as a player, but I'm sure he's keeping everybody loose when it's time.
Oh, yeah. I would say honorable mention in there as well as Champagne. I think we're just starting to see his personality come out. But, Jody, our producer today, she also had me pick who was the best dressed, and I would have to give it to the guy that we've been talking about for the past 3 shows, Gary Trent Jr. You see his fit, his drip is just,
Drip.
Dr. Drip. Yeah, I know. My this is a little bit of an older reference for me, but you guys probably know Lenny Kravitz. Like, my mom was saying, he has Lenny Kravitz vibes coming out.
Okay.
And so, a little bit. Yeah, right. And I Googled him and I was like, oh yeah, I could put 2 and 2 together. And like the green robe thing he was wearing at the game the other day, I was like, that's a look. But what really spoke to me when I like scrolled through his Instagram for this segment was, like he was rocking some old school WNBA fits too. So you know how I feel about that. That goes hard for me. So I got to give it to Gary for all of his looks and just being authentic to himself. But Sherm, now over to you for most improved rookie of the season.
Well, from their rookie to their senior year, I mean, that's a growth period in high school where a lot of things change, not only physically, but emotionally, mentally, experiences start to escalate. And, when I think of that kind of growth pertaining to a high school career, I think OG Anunoby fits the bill. I mean, this is a guy who came in as a rookie and came in after being injured in college, gets drafted, does a great job in terms of just figuring his body out. It's the gangly growing pains when you're young. And he's had some physical issues that he's had to deal with. And OG has just continued to develop health issues. He's fought through it. And now we're seeing OG as a more rounded, a skilled player, a guy who can impact the game on so many different levels. And from a basketball perspective, as we just talked about earlier in the show, he's efficient. He knows how to take advantage of his opportunities. But off the court, OG came to the Raptors as this quiet as a mouse guy. Now, behind the scenes, people talked about how funny he was and with the people on the team and the staff, how hilarious he was. But he never really let that out the bag. Now we're seeing that. We're seeing OG be a bit more out there with the way that he wants to present himself, and he's hilarious. He's very dry with his humor, but he's a very engaging person to talk to, even his interviewing ability. Before it was one or two answers. It was kind of funny, but irritating to the people who are trying to get an interview. But now we're seeing him have conversations with reporters and have real discussions. So his growth overall to me represents what you would say from your grade 9 year to your grade 12 year in high school in terms of how he's grown on and off the court.
Now, that's a great observation. What killed me this past year was the fact that his marketing day OVO logo was just so off base of what the actual logo looked like. It was brutal. It was like totally interpretive or subjective of what it actually is. But anyways, we love him. You could watch the Raptors take on the Miami Heat Saturday, January 29th. Watch it at 8 p.m. on TSN on TV and listen to it on Sportsnet, The Fan 590 from Savanna Hamilton, Sherman Hamilton, Paul Jones, Amy Audibert, Jake, Jody, and Garth behind the scenes. Thank you for watching another episode of Raptors Today.